Give me your best Scottish accent.
Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard. I haven't done it in a while. I used to have a pretty decent one.
I have a text for you, Kyle.
Okay.
Newer listeners to our podcast, or listeners in general, may or may not be aware that Butter No Parsnips is actually the abbreviated title of our podcast. So perhaps, Kyle, you'd like to read the full title in a Scottish accent.
Didn't you know the full title of our podcast is...
This is the most Irish Scottish accent I've ever heard.
Wait, hold on. Is Butter No Parsnips, or a hearty and humorous presentation of fine and forgotten words. It's pirate now. Which though they may enrich no tubers, may serve to fancy one's speech, impress one's peers, tickle one's brain, and brighten one's day. Back a little from the mic, says my producer.
I'm sorry, that should say fancify, not fancity. But not bad, Kyle.
Fancity's good.
Not great, but not bad.
Thanks.
Welcome to Butter No Parsnips. Every week on Butter No Parsnips, your hosts Emily Moyers and Kyle Imperator take you on an adventure through the weird, wacky, wonderful, and sometimes even wicked world of one wayside word. Strange characters, delightful bits, and general joyousness abound. Join them as they test each other's etymological expertise.
Marnin' lassies.
Oh.
And welcome to Butter No Parsnips. I'm Kyle Imperator.
And I'm Emily Moyers. I'm sorry to any Scottish people who may be listening.
Listen, it's just I care so much about your culture that I'm trying, to get closer.
You are. You gave it a valiant attempt, and I'm proud of you, Kyle.
Thank you. Am I just going to be doing impressions all day, or is maybe there a word?
Well, I do have
episode?
A word if you want it.
Oh, wonderful. I would love to hear it, please.
Kyle, your word today is Hogmanay. Hogmanay. Hogmanay.
Wow. What did you just say?
Or perhaps to say it more accurately, Hogmanay.
Hogmanay. Oh no. Hogmanay. Oh God. I literally don't even know where to start with Hogmanay. Oh. Emily, is Hogmanay, I don't know, it sounds like a tradition. Is it a thing?
Wow. It is a thing. And honestly, you're not far off with tradition.
Is it an event?
It is.
Oh.
But I want specifics, Kyle.
Well, I can't ask you what language of origin this is because I'm going to assume that it's Scots.
It's a Scottish word. There are etymologies beyond that, but we can talk about those later. But it's a Scottish word for sure.
Okay. It's a noun, right?
It is a noun.
Yeah. And is it a countable noun?
Yeah, it is a countable noun. It is also it can be a proper noun. I would say is most often a proper noun.
Capitalized?
Yeah.
Would
you like that hint? Although I've given you so many already.
No, give me another.
The one word clue I have for you is resolution.
Oh, resolution. Oh, is Hogmanay like a...
You got it, Kyle.
A New Year's tradition?
Really, really close. I think less specific.
Is Hogmanay a resolution?
No, it's not a New Year's tradition.
It's a New Year's. It's New Year's.
Yeah, you got it, Kyle.
Is this just Scottish New Year's?
Literally, it is Scottish New Year's.
Hogmanay, that's fun.
Yeah, Hogmanay is Scottish New Year's Eve, specifically.
And this is the little town in Harry Potter that they visit.
Yeah, they go, they go visit Hogmanay.
Yeah, they go to Hogmanay, right?
Yeah. So Hogmanay, it is Scottish New Year's Eve. It can also mean a celebration of or gift for New Year's Eve, or it can just mean like the days surrounding the New Year, like the New Year's season.
Are the Hogmanay or Hogmanays?
Hogmanay. You just say it like Hogmanay in general. Like how you say like Christmas time, you could just say Hogmanay to me.
Oh, I love it.
It's the season. Yeah.
I've never had a word for the season of New Year's, but this feels...
Well, because we sort of roll it into Christmas time.
Yeah, I never liked New Year's, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, Kyle, let's change that today.
Please.
Hey, everybody, listen. It's New Year's where you are right now. That's not even the best way to say that. It's New Year's on the day that this episode is coming out.
Where you are right now. No matter when you're listening. So, I guess Hogmanay to all of those out there. So, I guess happy Hogs
Happy
head.
Hogmanay. Happy New Year, everybody. It's a New Year's episode. It's a Hogmanay episode.
It's a Hogmanay episode.
International New Year episode.
I mean, I need to know more about Hogmanay so that I can reflect on all of the poor New Year's traditions that I just experienced and prepare for a better New Year's this upcoming...
Yeah, next year we'll do it Hogmanay style.
Yes.
But let's start off with some etymology, Kyle.
Yes, please.
So the etymology of Hogmanay is not 100% certain, but there are a few theories. The earliest theory was proposed in a 1693 pamphlet titled Scotch Presbyterian Eloquence Displayed, or The Folly of Their Teaching Discovered.
Oh, wow, okay.
And this was a pamphlet published in London criticizing Scottish Presbyterianism, but I guess also just like, would you listen to these wacky Scots? And all the wacky things they do.
Where was this published?
London, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
1693, wow. And they're just like, hey, also their traditions, we don't like them.
So there's a quote in there that says, "It is ordinary among some plebeians in the south of Scotland to go about from door to door upon New Year's Eve crying Hagmanay, a corrupted word from the Greek hagiamene, which signifies the holy month."
Oh, yeah, Hagia, huh?
Yeah, so like those two words do mean holy month, or more accurately, holy moon.
Mm-hmm.
But there is not actually any real evidence to suggest that that's where the word Hogmanay comes from.
It's just that they needed something to hang their hat on there.
Yeah, it's a solid theory.
Yeah.
In the modern era, the popular theory is that it probably came from French, actually.
That famous French New Year's tradition, Juan Monet.
Oh, wow. So far we've alienated the Scottish, we've alienated the French.
I'm starting the new year off on the right foot,
We're going to be just the two of us alone on an island by the end of this episode. Kyle, this French etymological theory comes to us courtesy of our good friend 1600s lexicographer Randall Cotgrave.
Oh, love him.
Yeah, friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast. What's up, Randall C?
What's up, Randall, with spelled like candle?
Spelled like candle.
In his etymology of Hogmanay, he connects it to a Middle French word aguianu, which is spelled crazy because it's French, which similarly meant New Year's Eve in Middle French, or a New Year's gift, or a children's cry for such a gift.
Oh, the cry.
Just like gimlets.
Like gimlets.
You would shout Aguianu when you wanted your New Year's gift.
Wow. So I wasn't far off.
Yeah. The literal translation that Cotgrave proposes is a combination of aiguille, which means to the mistletoe, and l'année, which means the new year, which is possibly a reference to a druidic tradition of gathering mistletoe at the new year.
Oh, interesting. Oh, it's pagan.
Kyle, this is a pagan episode.
A pagan episode. Close your ears for those of you out there against paganism.
There were other regional dialectical forms of that word in different parts of France, one of which was aiguinane, which likely gave rise to the Scottish Hogmanay, because it has it's spelled with an H-O-G.
That's really interesting. None of those sound like Scottish or French.
No, they don't. But that seems to be the most well-accepted theory. That is the one listed on the OED. There are a few other theories on the etymology, suggesting that it might have ultimately come from Manx or Anglo-Saxon or a Scandinavian language, but these are not as well-accepted theories.
I feel like I'm already so much closer to my Scottish and French brethren.
That's right. That's right. We want to bring you guys in, you know? We're reaching out this new year. Kyle.
Yes.
I want to talk about some Scottish New Year traditions. But first, Kyle, let's talk about some New Year's traditions that we have here in our native US of A.
Oh.
What springs to mind for you, Kyle?
Well, there's getting wasted and kissing your best friends when the ball drops.
Yeah.
Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve. We're still going strong. We're still doing that.
Yep.
Put Dick Clark to rest.
What happens after the ball drops on Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve?
Nuclear Armageddon.
No. What about a New Year's tradition that we all get from Scotland that usually happens right after midnight?
Oh, banging pots and pans?
No.
Oh.
What do we sing, Kyle?
Let all tradition be forgot, or else I'll kill my brother.
Yep, those were all the words perfectly.
Yeah. Starting the new year the right way.
Yes, that is the singing of Auld Lang Syne. Kyle, do you know who is typically credited with writing that song?
Oh, I don't know. It's like Francis Scott Key.
No, it is a beloved Scottish poet Robert Burns, or Robbie Burns.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he is commonly said to have written the lyrics to Auld Lang Syne, although he himself made it clear that he was simply putting to paper a traditional Scots song.
Sure.
And there is evidence that the song predated him.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, because a lot of stuff like that's like folk stuff is just like, we've been doing this for millennia.
Yeah, who knows where it came from?
Maybe there was originally one guy who was the Auld Lang Syne.
Well, Auld Lang Syne roughly translates to old long since, meaning like times long past.
Sure.
And the song is basically asking, like, should we forget our old bonds of friendship because it's been so long, or should we instead hold those long friendships dear?
It's very nostalgic. It brings it, but in a sad way. It brings a tear to my eye. It's one of the reasons why New Year's is a sad holiday for me.
Oh, yeah, buddy? Is it?
Yeah. You know, I'm always left alone with the pie.
Well, let's talk about other things you can do on New Year's in the Scottish way.
Mm-hmm.
So probably the most notable Hogmanay custom is something called first footing.
Oh, first footing, I assume, is the first person to jump on the bed.
Yeah, you got it.
For the new year.
Uh-huh.
And then mom comes in, yells at you. You know, it's a whole tradition.
Yeah, it's either that or in Scotland, as well as in Northern England and the Isle of Man, and actually a few countries outside the British Isles, the first foot is the first person to enter a home in the new year.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so that can mean literally the first person to cross the threshold after midnight, or it can also sort of extend to mean like your first visitor of the year.
Sure. Oh, that's fun.
Isn't that fun?
Is that an excuse to skip the New Year's party and just come right after midnight?
Yes. Well, I was reading, there's like some houses will like literally kick somebody out of their party just before midnight so that they can walk back in just after midnight.
That's fun though, because it's like, who's going to freeze out in the cold? It's going to be Jim tonight.
Well, we'll talk about who would be a good pick to send out. But I will tell you,
Jim,
first footing as a thing you could go out and do. It's not done as much anymore, but traditionally, people would literally go out after midnight and walk around town visiting people's homes. You just like walk down the block and visit people.
That's fun. That's like Halloween. Do you get drinks when you visit?
You do. So consequently, another Hogmanay tradition during the day was cleaning your whole house and having food and drink ready for when you got visitors after midnight.
For first footing. That's
for first footing.
I mean, I guess less fun of a tradition.
Yeah, you've got to clean your whole house. Yeah. And at most times in history, that was the duty of the woman of the house, was to make everything ready.
Yikes.
But visitors, in turn, are expected to bring certain gifts with them as sort of symbolic wishes for the household that they're visiting. These gifts might include coal for warmth, whiskey for merriment, a particular baked good called a black bun, which would symbolize like good food year round, and also salt, which in the old days was a rare commodity in Scotland.
Sure.
So sharing it was like a great show of friendship.
That's really kind.
Yeah. And actually a lot of cultures have a tradition of giving bread and salt as a sign of friendship. And there's a phrase sometimes used called to have bread and salt with someone, I think means like to form a connection or to resolve a conflict.
I've never heard that phrase before, but it's really homey.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And then there's also myths about like certain first foots are more auspicious than others.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so I think generally like the luckiest first footer you can have is like a tall dark stranger, like a tall dark-haired man coming to your house. Yeah.
Why?
So one scholar I was reading, her theory is that like
a serial killer?
No, just a tall man with dark colored hair. And her theory was that like blonde people are seen as less lucky, and she suspects that maybe that came back to when the Vikings invaded Scotland, which like if a blonde person showed up at your door, you were probably about to have a really bad day.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true, but that's the myth.
I like to think it is.
Yeah.
Wait, are there bad people that you so blonde people are the bad people that you don't want to
So blondes are seen as less lucky. I think women are seen as less lucky.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's sad.
So I guess I just shouldn't go out on Hogmanay.
I mean, it sounds like the Norse marauders might be out on Hogmanay. So
I guess traditionally that was the risk. But so first footing is like the sort of big, nationally the Hogmanay tradition, but there are also all manner of local traditions. Kyle, do you know of any local New Year's Eve traditions in our neck of the woods?
There are some towns in the US that drop things other than balls, although I maybe even dropping the New Year's ball is like a US tradition. I don't know. It's
a local New York tradition.
Yeah, and then like I know in Pennsylvania I've been to Dillsburg where they drop a pickle and Mechanicsburg where they drop a wrench. Yeah. And I assume down in
well, Kyle, don't say too many more because we're going to talk about them later.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, okay, good.
But yeah, fun. So there are traditions that are maybe a little more insular. For instance, in the Scottish Highlands, there's an old pagan tradition on Hogmanay, still sometimes practiced, called saining, SAINING, or blessing the house. Aww. And that involved taking water from a river ford crossed by both the living and the dead, sprinkling that water around the house, and then filling the house with smoke from burning juniper branches.
Jesus Christ.
And you like shut up all the doors and windows so that the house fills with smoke. And then when it's like all filled up with smoke, you throw open all the windows and doors to let in the fresh air and the fresh new year. And then you have a dram of whiskey.
I mean, I think I need whiskey before that. You know, smoke yourself out in that house.
Yeah.
Also, you have to get water from a river that was crossed by the living and the dead. What does that even mean?
It's like an old pagan myth tradition thing.
Are there a list of pagan rivers where the dead have crossed? Or what does that even mean? Like,
I don't know.
Like if you like a funeral, right?
Sure, I guess if a funeral
river?
Procession marched over it.
Or is it just the river Styx?
Yeah, you have to go to the river Styx.
Go all the way down to Hades.
Yeah, and then flirt with death yourself by smoking yourself out in your own house. And then you get drunk in the wee hours of New Year's morning.
I mean, it sounds fun, you know? It sounds quirky.
It does. Quirky is the word. I have another quirky one here. In the harbour town of Stonehaven, Scotland, they have a long-standing tradition of fireball swinging.
Wow, I was going to make a joke about stoning people, but this sounds just as dangerous.
So the Stonehaven fireball swinging is a tradition in which revelers make sort of like a ball of gasoline-soaked garbage wrapped in fishing wire.
My God.
with a long wire handle, and then they walk down High Street in this little parade swinging lit fireballs around their heads.
Wow. You know, on Thanksgiving, they talk about the dangers of deep frying turkeys. I hope that there's, some sort of public service announcement about fireball slinging.
I mean, there wouldn't be a need. It's a long-standing Stonehaven tradition. People know it. People love it. Wow. And literally no one in Stonehaven today knows exactly why or when this started, but they do it.
Because all the people who started it died. Third-degree burns. Yeah.
And the other thing is, I heard one guy talking about how they would be made to burn for a while, because as these men were like walking down High Street with their flaming fireballs, they would like get to a friend's house and they would just leave the fireball out on the street while they would go inside and have a dram of whiskey and then come back out and keep going.
Hey, you don't mind if I leave my flaming fireball out here on your wooden stoop, do you?
On your stoop.
I just need to get drunk so I can go and do this at other places.
Like, truly crazy.
Okay, Frank, I think you've had enough to drink. Also, I'm calling the police.
And the fire department.
Yeah, the brigade.
Yeah. But all of that pales in comparison to Edinburgh's Hogmanay celebration.
They must have a big one.
Widely held to be one of the biggest New Year's blowouts on the globe. Still today.
Emily, are we going to go this year?
I mean, you'd have to get your tickets months ago, I assume. It's like a huge festival. It's like,
it's like
January
the
Times
1st,
Square.
Emily, so it's got to start now, is what I'm saying.
Oh, that's true. Yes, we're going to get our tickets for next year. Yes, absolutely.
Today,
yeah. Yeah, because it's like, if the New Year's Eve party in Times Square were like 4 to 5 days long, and included not only huge concerts and firework displays, but also torchlight parades and something called the Looney Duke, in which people dress up in costume and swim into a frigid river on New Year's Day.
That's the living and the dead. Some people don't make it back.
That's right. Yeah, so if you're looking for something absolutely wild to do next Hogmanay, go to Edinburgh.
We're going to Edinburgh this year, Emily.
Absolutely.
We're making it happen.
Because the thing is, like, generally speaking, in Scotland, Hogmanay is bigger than Christmas. Hogmanay is the big holiday of the season.
This is... I've literally never heard of this.
I know, isn't it crazy? Yeah, but it's bigger than Christmas largely because during the Scottish Reformation, Protestantism was on the rise, and anything that felt like too Catholic, such as Christmas, was discouraged and out of fashion. So part of why Hogmanay sort of rose in popularity is that it wasn't a religious holiday, it was just a Scottish holiday.
Right.
But it's just crazy because, like, could you imagine today if everyone was just like, nope, we're not doing Christmas anymore. That's it. We're done.
Well, I mean, I think there are some people who are like against Christmas for the sake of Christmas.
So maybe we should just all kibosh it.
Yeah, I mean, we could also just, I don't know, there's Festivus, right?
There's Festivus. I was thinking we could all like really go in on Thanksgiving, because for the same reason, like, that's not a religious holiday. That's just an American, deeply racist holiday.
Or we can go in on a better American holiday, like Groundhog Day, Emily.
Like Groundhog Day, yeah. We should all go in on Groundhog Day.
I have
Christmas.
Changed the projection of this episode.
We're looking ahead. Hey, it's a month away, folks. Get your groundhog parties set up now.
Get them set up now.
But that said, obviously Christmas in Scotland isn't nothing. It is still very much a big thing. And similar to how other countries have like the 12 days of Christmas or the 25 days of Christmas, Scotland has the Daft Days.
Oh.
That is what they call their holiday season. Daft in reference to the sort of frivolity of it all.
Gotcha.
And the Daft Days specifically run from Christmas through Hogmanay up to the first Monday of the new year.
Oh, so it's just, wow, that's a long time.
That first Monday of the new year, Kyle, is called Hansel Day Handsel.
Oh,
What were you thinking?
like and Gretel.
No, it is Hansel. Hansel comes from an old Saxon word meaning to deliver into the hand and
Oh.
refers to small gifts or tips given for good luck. And since
Aw.
Hansel Monday is the start of the first work week of the year, it is traditional to give small gifts and tips to working people
To your
that
coworkers.
day. Yeah, or to like people who work for you, like to
Oh,
your
sure.
it's postman, your doorman, whoever.
Oh, that's so nice. Your doorman.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, in the old days, like you'd give gifts to your servants that day.
Right.
Yeah, it's in
We don't
that
do we now
bin.
that nowadays the servants they don't get anything on Hansel.
That's right. We've given up on being kind to them.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, that's what I have on Hogmanay. Have I successfully brought you around on New Year's?
Emily, I honestly am thinking of all of the fun things that could be done on Hogmanay now, and I think maybe if I plan for it, this could be a good Hogmanay this year.
That's right. Well, Kyle, let's start the new year off on a good foot by using Hogmanay in a sentence.
Okay. Whew. All right, I want to use it cleverly. This Hogmanay is going to be a bit of a downer because Uncle Greg can't make his famous mulled brandy ever since he burned his hands off with the fireball slinging.
With the Stonehaven fireball?
Yeah.
Excellent sentence, Kyle. Absolutely
Thank
stunning.
you. And Emily, excellent word. Thank you for introducing us to this long-lived holiday that I had absolutely no inkling was
I
being
know.
celebrated on a regular
Neither
basis.
did I, but it sounds fantastic.
It does.
Kyle, should we play a quick little New Year's game?
Please, Emily, oh, please, please, please.
Kyle, our New Year's game is called We Really Dropped the Ball, huh?
So good, Emily, so good.
So, Kyle, you and I are from New York, home of the Times Square ball drop.
Mhm.
But, as we've noted, New York has inspired other places to drop things more significant to their homes. So, for this game, I'm going to give you a place that holds a New Year's Eve drop event, and I want you to tell me what they drop.
I'm loving this. Please, proceed.
Kyle, what do they drop in Boise, Idaho?
Oh, again with the Boise.
I had to say it right now that I know that that's how they say it.
I mean, if it's not a potato.
You got it, Kyle.
Yeah, good.
It is a potato, although that particular potato is often colloquially referred to as the glow-tato.
Beautiful, the glow-tato.
The glow-tato.
That's so good.
Yeah. So we talked about a couple Pennsylvania towns. Fun fact, Pennsylvania is the state where the most objects are dropped on New Year's Eve.
That's
So what do you
interesting.
think they drop in Hershey, Pennsylvania?
Oh, in Hershey, Pennsylvania, I'm going to guess it's a big old poop emoji.
Kyle, you got as close as you can get.
Oh, is it Hershey Kiss?
It is, but it is not dropped. It is raised.
Oh, why?
I don't know. They said, we do things a little different here at Hershey
We're a little
Park.
different in Hershey. Come have our chocolate that tastes like vomit.
What?
I'm not a fan of Hershey's chocolate.
Wow.
The Kisses I like, but the Hershey's chocolate bars,
Wow. Kyle's starting beef with Scotland, with France,
Just
with
saying.
Hershey,
Hershey.
and Co., with Willy Wonka. All right, Kyle, you're 2 for 2. Kyle, what do you think they drop in both Miami and Orlando, Florida?
Oh, God. Is it an orange?
You got it. Miami, in particular, drops a large neon sign of an orange wearing sunglasses named Mr. Neon.
Fun. Mr.
Isn't that
Neon?
fun?
Why?
I don't know.
It could have been anything. Oh, look at him. I'm sorry. I looked up a picture. I had to see him.
He looked up Mr. Neon. He's a fun guy.
Love it.
Last one, Kyle. This is the most important one. You got to get this one.
Okay.
What do you think they dropped in Seaside Heights, New Jersey in 2011?
Jesus Christ. I don't know. Was it Snooky?
Kyle, it was Snooki.
No way.
As part of MTV's New Year's Eve special
way.
in the 2010-2011 year, they dropped a giant hamster ball carrying Nicole Polizzi, aka Snooki, from Jersey Shore.
My God.
Because
Oh my
it was
God.
New Jersey in 2011, which was the height of the time, you know?
I think that was the last time New Jersey celebrated New Year's. Wait, it was actually her.
It was her in a big old hamster ball.
Oh,
I should say there are
God.
other drop events where they'll put like a person in a big ball, but that one's hilarious because MTV wanted to hold the drop at their studios in Times Square, New York. But New York City officials asked them not to do that.
That's so funny. Wow. Incredible. Emily, I'm real jazzed up for this upcoming New Year's.
Heck yeah. We're gonna drop me for next
In a
Hogmanay.
giant parsnip. And
In
not
a
like
giant
a plastic parsnip.
Plastic
like it's
parsnip.
gonna be
That's
no,
right.
it's gonna
And we're
be
gonna
a real
do it
parsnip.
in Edinburgh.
Oh, wow.
And then we're all gonna go take a dip in a freezing lake the next day.
Yeah. And I'll be the dead because I can't swim. Fantastic episode, Emily, and
thanks.
I learned so much about holidays, and you did too at home. So remember to celebrate Hogmanay this year, but also remember that you can find Butter No Parsnips on social media, on Facebook and Instagram at Butter No Parsnips Podcast, and on TikTok at Butter No Parsnips. And if you liked today's episode, consider giving us a 5-star rating or review wherever you heard us.
And if you really liked today's episode, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/butternoparsnips. Donating $5 or more earns you a shout out either on social media or right here on the podcast.
Thanks so much to all of you. You help us make what we make.
And with that, I've been Emily Moyers.
And I've been Kyle Imperator, and this has been Butter No Parsnips.
Butter No Parsnips is produced by Seth Glixman, Kyle Imperator, and myself, Emily Moyers. The main and accompanying themes were composed by Kyle Imperator.